Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the digital and social media news for leaders of nonprofits, churches and ministries. I am Natchi Lazarus, and this week we have news from Google, Twitter, Facebook, Apple and US State Department related to visas and social media. This is the show where we bring you the top 5 news you need to know for this week in less than 5 minutes. Let's get started. Our first big news is about US visas and social media. The Associated Press reported earlier this week on 1st June that the US State Department is now requiring nearly all applicants for US visas to submit their social media usernames, previous email IDs and phone numbers. This is part of the enhanced screening process for potential immigrants and visitors. Now this process will have a new application form which will list down certain social media channels, and if you have had accounts in these channels for the last 5 years, then you need to give those details. And they also allow you to volunteer information about social media channels which are not listed. You can give further details. Now this process is expected to impact more than 700,000 immigrant applicants and 1.4 million non-immigrant applicants, including people who have applied for business and educational visas. So looks like your social media profile and your posts are much more important and an expression of who you are. So as a leader, be conscious of that when you look at your social media profiles and your postings. Our next news is from Apple. Apple kicked off its Worldwide Developer Conference earlier this week, and I always look for trends when I look at these conference announcements, because these companies, they spend a lot of time and resources and money researching before they make these big announcements. So these announcements kind of point us towards future trends, and Apple is definitely a company you need to listen to. Now the two big announcements, one is iTunes is being broken down into 3 different apps. So if you know, for 13 years, iTunes has been at the center of all Apple devices. But now iTunes is gone and it's being replaced by 3 apps: Apple TV, Apple Music and Apple Podcast. So this is an indication to us that people are consuming content in 3 different formats. One is a television, entertainment, video, movie type of a content. The other is Apple Music, which is both entertainment and audio and video format. And then the third is Apple Podcast, which is an educational audio format content. So these 3 seem to be the most important types of content that people want. So when you plan your social media and your digital strategies, think about these. The second big announcement that caught my eye was iPad getting its own operating system. So Apple wants most of us to move from computers to iPad, so we could do most of our work on iPad itself. It will have file organizing system and a lot of other interesting things. I will link to it in the show notes so that you can look at all the various announcements. Our next news is about Facebook. Facebook is coming up with a feature where you can report a bug or a problem with the Facebook app by just shaking your phone. Yes, when you are looking at Facebook and you have, a video is not playing or you are having some kind of trouble with the app, you can just shake it and there will be a pop-up that just comes up in which you can report the problem easily to Facebook. Our next big news is from Google. Google search will soon have augmented reality capabilities, AR capabilities. What does that mean? This means when you search for an object, example, let's say you search for a tiger, you want to learn about a tiger. One of the search results will be a 3D image of a tiger, which you can click on, and then using your phone's camera, you can point your phone camera to the room and then drag this 3D image of the tiger and place it in your living room. Yes, that 3D image will actually sit in your room in real size, so that you can look at the 3D image of the tiger in different angles and kind of learn about it. So Google wants to make the learning process more interesting. Now this is a great trend, because as a ministry, as a church, imagine the possibilities. People can learn about the ark, they can learn about the the priest garments and various other things using their phone and superimposing that on real life. So it's kind of an interesting trend that you need to be aware of. Our final news is from Twitter. Twitter announced last week that you can now host a live video on Twitter and bring on 3 other guests while you are live. So people can get on your live video and they can request to be a guest, and you can accept and you can bring them on to the show. So if you are using live video as one of your content types on social media, then this is exciting news for you. Do check it out and let me know how it works. Well, that's all we have for you this week. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. If you have any questions or if you want to dig deeper into any of the stories that we talked about, then we've got all those details in our news page, natchi.net/news. It has the source links and transcripts and all the other details, so go and check it out. And please subscribe to this if you haven't done so already, so that you do not miss another episode. We release this every Friday, and please share this with other leaders of non-profit churches and ministries who might benefit from hearing this news every week. I will see you next week with another set of news items. Until then, stay connected, stay blessed. God bless you. Bye-bye.